Be happy, be healthy, be your best. Be your
So I don't
best.
personally celebrate New Year's Eve or
Be
make New
happy.
Year's resolutions, but in looking into the research about New Year's resolutions and the success rates and how to manage them and why they fail, I found it was really interesting because the information about New Year's resolutions can also be applied to any other different time of the year when you have a special event or something coming up and set a resolution, something that you just really want to have happen. So, looking at why resolutions fail and how you can set yourself up for success is something that will work the whole year through. So, why do people set resolutions, especially around the new year? A lot of times they want fresh starts. They are reflecting on what the previous year was like. And then they want to do some goal setting. And like I said, this can apply to people that do New Year's resolutions, but it also can apply for people who do vacation resolutions or financial resolutions, any type of resolution. So, the most common types of resolutions are health goals, financial goals, relationship goals, and personal development. And a lot of times, the reason why people will set a resolution is it actually stirs up in them the feeling of hope that maybe this time they can actually accomplish what they're setting out to do. And so hope can be something that really is a driver for people that just motivates them. It inspires people to think about positive outcomes. It gives them impetus to set the resolutions. Often people too have a desire for better habits. Maybe they want to not drink so much caffeine. Maybe they want to exercise more. Maybe they want to change their eating habits. And then a lot of times, social media influence really encourages people to make commitments to change. So, why do resolutions tend to fail? Well, there's a number of different reasons. One of them is that people can set unrealistic or vague goals. They can have broad, generalized, undefined goals. Their goals don't have enough clarity. They don't have any milestone markers. Um, it's really hard for them to track their success and feel like they're accomplishing something. Other times it's an overly ambitious goal, something that just is not realistic to start with. It's something that is set up for failure before it even starts because it's just too big, too ambitious. The other thing is that people have a need for clear milestones, having it where they are able to recognize when they're making progress with something that they have made a resolution to do can really factor very importantly into having that resolution be successful. So, what those things boil down to is lack of proper planning. A lot of times people make resolutions on the spur of the moment. They get caught up in the emotion of a certain amount of time and they just very quickly make a resolution without putting in thought into it, proper thought into it. So there has to be an action based plan. The only way that the brain actually decides that something is important is when it is an action based plan. It's taking the actions that makes it where the brain starts to prioritize making sure that you get the results. Part of that is breaking goals down into different steps, having it be where things are achievable because you're able to take action on different small steps, things that are manageable, things that are clear, and things that can be action based. And then preparing for obstacles. No matter how well intentioned somebody is, things are going to come up. It's going to be financial things that come up, family problems that come up, health issues that come up. Let's say that somebody has set a goal for a certain exercise program and they come down with a bad cold, or somebody and their child gets sick and they have to stay home and take care of them for a few days. Thinking ahead about those things is something that makes it where somebody doesn't get derailed by those obstacles. So, spoiler alert, depending on motivation, motivation is the worst employee you will ever have. motivation often comes, goes, leaves, isn't there, especially when obstacles come up. And so, really anticipating the impact of different distractions and setbacks is really, really important. Because otherwise, what's going to happen is that employee motivation isn't going to show up for another 365 days until New Year's Eve again. And then you're going to have chicken and an egg, the same thing happening over and over again. So, developing rock solid habits and really getting support is really important too, in order to have it be that that motivation can be something that continues to stay present. So, some of the suggestions, once again, are setting specific goals. Goals should be clear, reasonable, and attainable in order to have success. This guarantees a much better outcome if they are clear, reasonable, and attainable. They also need to have specifics about them that can be tracked and measured. This is something that gives you encouragement and can keep things going even when there are different obstacles that show up. And like we said before, something that is achievable. It doesn't mean that you can't set a big goal. It's good to dream big. But when you're doing the actual resolution part of it, you want to make sure that it has some realistic, attainable steps that can be taken to make sure that in the long run, that big goal can be reached. Building change and building habits through small incremental changes are much, much longer lasting. It's kind of like steps on a stairway. Small, manageable changes. It helps you build momentum. Steady, reasonable goals that can actually be achieved helps get steady momentum that'll get you even through the unexpected obstacles that can come up. And then having sustainable integration. Gradual habit changes are more likely to stick and successfully blend into your life than great big changes that, once again, aren't sustainable. So thinking about it as one step at a time, like a staircase, is a really important way to think about setting up resolutions so that they actually can be achieved and be successful. Also, support systems, pulling in family members, friends, having it where they can help you. They can not only support you, but hold you accountable. It's something that can help a lot. They also can celebrate with you, whether it's a small increment that you've done or a bigger goal that you have met after a bunch of those small increments. And then find someone that you can request to just, that really is going to be willing to, on a consistent basis, stay in touch with you about this goal that you're trying to reach. It can really enhance your possibility of success, and especially when there are problems that show up that could roadblock you from it. So some of the tools and techniques is tracking progress. I don't know if you're like me, I'm a list maker. I like making lists. I'm somebody who's so into making lists that I put at the very top, make a list so that I can cross it off as soon as I get going. Gives me a sense of progress. So regular monitoring, tracking your progress. So what does this do? It helps you see areas that need improvement. Maybe you're doing really well in one area of a goal that you have set, but another area is having more difficulty. So if you can recognize your successes, and maybe you can set up a small reward system for as you make each small milestone so that that keeps you going as well. It doesn't have to be anything huge. It just has to regularly be that you're kind of patting yourself on the back for the fact that you're making it to these small milestones. It's a job well done when you make a milestone. Here again, being able to adapt as circumstances change. You've got to have some flexibility when you're trying to make goals. Flexibility allows you to adapt when circumstances shift, making sure that they stay where they're attainable and they're actually relevant to where your life is at the current moment. And then adjusting with new information. Sometimes you'll get new data, or you'll see a different way of going about something that you're doing. Don't feel afraid midstream to just change how you are achieving your goal. And if you have to take something that you have planned out and just shift it some, If you find that that information is relevant and it encourages you towards your goal, it's something that can really help you be successful. The other thing is you are going to have setbacks. There are going to be times when things happen, and it's really, really important to build resilience. Seeing setbacks as a learning experience and actually an opportunity to improve rather than as failure is a really, really big thing to incorporate right from the first day that you're trying to reach your goals. You need to build resilience. Resilience will make it where you persist and you thrive in achieving your goal despite challenges and difficulties that come along. So I hope this information has helped you. Maybe some of you have already set some goals for the next year, or maybe some of you have events coming up in your life in the next year that you do want to sit down and set some resolutions in order to achieve the end result. So hopefully some of these suggestions will help you to set good goals, reasonable goals, attainable goals, have the resilience to follow through on them, and use some of these hacks to make it where at the end, you're congratulating yourself for a job well done.